mission in the morning is to run wide-eyed towards the sun. And I can't explain why I feel this way. It's an urge I'm afraid can't be undone.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Every.Thing.After podcast. We're here today and we're going to watch the Superman trailer from James Gunn, DCU movie coming out in, I believe, July. Is that correct? July 5th?
July 11th.
July 11th, okay.
3 days after my birthday.
Oh,
I'm
what a birthday
super
present.
excited about that.
Yeah, that's a great birthday present.
Yeah.
So we're going to watch that, and then we're going to talk about it afterwards. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about, and there's some interesting little things here and there I've seen strewn out through the trailer that we can bring up and chat about. So we're going to get started with that right now and watch it. Here we go. You ready?
Yep, let's go.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
So there we go. The trailer's over. What did you think?
Wow. Like I said, we've talked about this a couple times. I've watched it maybe 6 times at least since it came out yesterday. This came out yesterday. We're talking the day after. And every time I watch it, chill bumps. Just literal chills. Tingles. It's just so good. I'm so excited about it. You might say super excited about it. What about you, G?
Yeah, I think super excited is a good term. It looks very comic book like, which I'm excited about because a lot of times they try to make Superman into just a regular movie. I think that leaves out a lot of the flavor. I'm excited about Krypto being in it. I know a lot of people have been down on that, but I think that's fun. I think that brings a comic book feeling to it that Superman hasn't had before. So I'm excited about that too.
I'm just so excited about Krypto. Mm-hmm. I'm a dog guy anyway. I love my dogs, and Krypto so far is maybe my favorite thing about it. There's a lot to compete against, though. There's a lot of favorite things about it, but Krypto's right up there. I'm really excited about Krypto being a part of it. I think that the animation on Krypto, I think the design of Krypto is just perfect. You know, it's just the right amount of cute, you know, and I mean, you can't train a dog to do what Krypto's doing. So you got to employ some CGI for that. But it looks believable. It looks real. And I'm there for it all the way.
Yeah, he threw a punch, it looks like, at one point in the video. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the trailer itself has quite a few little things hidden in it that I haven't heard a few people talk about. Like, we're watching the trailer. Do you know anything about Metamorpho?
I can't say I'm not really familiar with that character, no.
This isn't really spoilers. He's a well-known character at this point. You can look this up on Wikipedia. So I don't know what's going on in the movie, but he can transmutate into different matter source, like different states of matter.
Uh-huh.
So like he could make himself into a gas, like like different types of gas, like I guess cyanide gas or whatever it is, and then he can turn into like steel or whatever. But if you can see his hand there, left hand, he is glowing green. So it appears that someone has taught him how to make kryptonite.
Yeah.
And
that's a good observation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Metamorpho, and the guy that plays Metamorpho is, I don't remember his name, Anthony Carrigan maybe. Apologies on not remembering his name, but he played Mr. Zsasz in Gotham, and he also played the Weather Wizard, I think, on The Flash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's played 2 other DC characters already in different shows, which is really cool. So this is, I think, his 3rd go-around in the DCU. Yeah, that was one thing that I wanted to talk about immediately, is that I've seen this and nobody seems to have noticed it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, Metamorpho is pretty much keeping Superman in this little cube thing. I don't know who this little lady is over here on the right here in the pink.
Right.
That one's kind of interesting.
So, I mean, definitely it looks like he is on the side of the captors in this case. He's not in this cage or the cell with Superman as a prisoner. He is there as an aid to his captors because of that glow, that kryptonite glow.
He could be being, coerced into being in there as well. Like, he could be like, hey, you do this, or keep Superman in here, we're going to do this. So, it looks like the guards here are trying to beat up Superman because he's weak from the kryptonite. So it looks like Metamorpho has successfully changed into kryptonite, which is cool. So that's one beat I
Yeah.
think we should expect. And so
Even a
anyway,
weakened Superman, though, like they're in robot armor here, so even a weakened Superman in this case, they have to protect against.
hmm yeah. So and it looked like there was a scene too later on where it looked like Metamorpho was potentially figuring out how to make the kryptonite. Here's another shot
Yeah,
from that cube where it looks like maybe I don't see Metamorpho in there anymore.
yeah.
Or maybe he's changed into gas. It does look kind of cloudy in there. Maybe he's changed into some sort of a gas or something. So that's cool. Let's see. Let's start at the very beginning, though. We got
Yeah.
opening shots of Lois and Clark hanging out in, I guess, one of their apartments or maybe the Daily Planet. I don't know. I can't really tell. Looks like a house, right?
It
An
looks
apartment.
like it looks like an apartment. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're
It
sitting
looks
here.
like it's probably Lois's place.
Mm-hmm.
See the books and everything. She's pretty established in this residence. I would imagine Clark is still a fairly recent transplant to Metropolis, so he's probably not established himself. He probably doesn't have quite the setup in his digs yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love Rachel Brosnahan in this role. She gives me such Margot Kidder vibes.
Yeah.
She's fantastic in the Marvelous Miss Maisel. My wife and I watched that. Enjoyed her in that a lot. She looks younger in this because obviously Miss Maisel's a period piece. It's 30s, 40s, and so she's more youthful appearing in this, but very much getting Kidder vibes from her, from Margot Kidder, of course, who played Lois Lane in the Christopher Reeves trilogy.
No, she's definitely very Margot Kidder-esque in this. I mean, just from the clothes she's wearing reminds me of something that like you would see Margot Kidder in those movies. You know, she's just got a very like happening vibe as far as whose apartment it is. She's sitting cross-legged on the couch, and Clark is sitting very nicely in a chair. So I feel like this is definitely Lois's place.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if she does know Clark is Superman here, or whether he's just pretending to be Superman because to be, I don't know, kind of cheeky, I guess. With her,
Yeah.
like, I'm still curious as to not whether or not she knows for sure he is actually Superman here. I think we'll find out later.
Oh, she definitely knows.
You think
I
so?
think she definitely knows. They're playing coy with each other.
It looks like they probably do know who each other is because like there's a scene here, even though I guess they are in maybe a different apartment. It looks like maybe. But this is still kind of curious to me. I have no idea what this is. This glowing sky cloud
Yeah.
thingy.
I thought I saw somebody theorize that it might have something to do with Brainiac.
Yeah, the cube prison thing looks Brainiac-esque. So Lex could be
Yeah.
dealing with a rudimentary, what he thinks is some sort of a rudimentary AI that's actually some sort of Brainiac, extension maybe. And maybe he doesn't
So
even know what
that
he's doing
interview,
with.
yeah. So that interview, if we start back there, we theorize even more. She says to him, "Are you serious? You're going to let me interview you as Superman?" So that's either them kind of playing coy with each other. She knows that he's Superman, or they're doing kind of a
Role playing.
mock interview, almost like you play the character of Superman and I'll play the interviewer, and we see how he might respond to something.
See, that's what I was thinking.
That could be tricky. I think it's the former. I think she knows at this point. I feel like there's that energy between them.
That seems more likely, honestly.
Yeah. And he's not wearing the Kent glasses. As soon as she says, he agrees to let her interview him as Superman, he kind of changes. He gets kind of a sterner look on his face, and he gets into Superman mode when she starts talking to him.
Yeah, he gets the yes, Miss Lane.
Yes, Miss Lane. Yes,
the more articulated
right.
voice kind of thing.
Right.
Clark's a little bit like, okay.
Right.
He has to appear more bumbling, I guess. That's what I was thinking. But like, I was like, oh, are they just going to give this part of the movie away? But I guess sometimes it doesn't matter.
We see flashbacks to Clark as a kid. We see flashbacks to Clark with Paul Kent. So this isn't an origin movie. It seems to start later in the Superman saga, but we get some of that in flashbacks. So if this starts at a point, maybe after Lois learns of his identity in some way. Or I don't know if we'll see that on screen. Will we see her discovering him as Superman, or will we just cut right in and she knows?
We could already
I'm
know.
curious about that.
Yeah, because the establishment of other characters in this movie seems to suggest that Superman has been around a while. Like
Yeah,
he's not just some new phenomenon that's happened because now they have other heroes that are openly acting out in public. Like
right.
because I know lots of stuff about comics, and what this looks like to me, without spoilers again, is it looks like they're trying to build the roster of the Justice League International, which is a
Yeah,
late 80s, early 90s Justice League run, which was more fun than serious and like epic or whatever, and it had like characters like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Plastic Man and Shazam and Batman. He was still in it, of course. He's always in it. Um, so it was a more eclectic group of heroes like Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, people that were, it was a more lighthearted thing, and I thought it was really cool. So like it'd be fun to see it kind of like play out here. So Hal Jordan and
yeah.
John Stewart weren't the Green Lanterns of that Justice League. It was Guy Gardner. So this makes me think it's somewhere in like maybe not the beginning of Superman's career or not the end, but like somewhere towards like maybe year 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Instead of year 1 or 2. So
It still seems like he's in conflict with some of the other heroes, though.
mm-hmm.
Not just Metamorphosis, but some of the other characters look like they're at odds with him at points in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I think Green Lantern doesn't look like he's maybe on the side of the Man of Steel in some of his scenes. So that makes me wonder if we're not getting a Superman versus the world kind of thing for a little bit, where when she's interviewing him, she's obviously talking about there are a lot of people upset with the way you do whatever you want. It makes me wonder if some of these heroes aren't brought in to maybe temper Superman's powers in some way.
Yeah, it seems like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific are all together and not necessarily with him at,
Yeah.
at points. Like Guy Gardner in one scene in this trailer. Let me find it here. It's on the battlefield where it looks like that war is happening. You can see it's like, oh, I'll stop the war, and this like these are the same colored tanks and vehicles, and Guy Gardner's coming here like he's almost like I gotta waste my time with this, and he's flipping people with his hand and stuff. So it's almost like he's coming in after the fact and cleaning stuff up. It looks like maybe.
Yeah.
So like maybe they've had to come in and clean up after Superman because he tried to help and something happened. Like so the quote unquote sponsored heroes had to come in and take over for the unsponsored hero. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know if that's the exact thing that's happening, but that seems like the kind of vibe that they're going for right now. Like, I'm sure they'll all join forces at the end and fight against a common cause.
Yeah.
But at least to set up the story, it looks like they're not quite on the same page.
Yeah. I can't get over Nathan Fillion with blonde hair, with that blonde bowl cut looking hair. It's just so odd to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Guy Gardner's always had a weird bowl cut, so that's kind of fun.
He's just odd looking, and he looks kind of perturbed. He looks kind of annoyed, just put out by having to do his hero stuff in this movie. At least in the clips we've seen of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like in the other trailer that came out before this, he's perhaps protecting Superman from the angry crowd. He puts up a green barrier over the window.
Yeah,
like he's coming to like it almost looks like Superman's come to them after the fact for some reason, and like this is kind of like the why don't you come with us pep talk, instead of like doing the stuff on your own, like work with us. It seems like that's kind of like the vibe that I got from that small brief little scene there. So yeah, the interesting other heroes involvement, and like I said, there's at least 3 set pieces of fighting, because this guy right here, without me saying anything about who he is the guy who did who smashed his face into the ground.
Right.
Like, so that's the same person, and it's also the guy that spear tackles him on the football field. So I would also imagine he's the guy who uppercuts him into the sky, and Crypto rescues him in the other trailer. I don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing. And I don't want to say who it is because I know who it is, and I don't want to spoil it. The guy on his right here, in the actor Frank Grillo, he's playing Rick Flag Sr. So he's in Creature Commandos, and this is the same character. So if you've seen the animated Creature Commandos, this is the same actual voice actor and the same actor. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you want to catch up on that early before Superman comes out, everybody, it's not too bad. It's all right. It's fun. David Harbour's in it. Vera, I can't remember her name. I apologize. She's in Luther. It was Luther's wife. You remember that?
And that actor's also in Marvel. He was in a Hydra agent, right?
Well, technically he's a Hydra agent. He's a bigger character than that in the comics. His name is Crossbones in the comics. He's the Captain America enemy that has like the luchador mask, sort of. Like, I guarantee you've seen him. So yeah, he's a big character in Marvel Comics, but he just kind of got tossed aside in the MCU. But yeah, that's the same person. He was in the elevator fight scene with Captain America.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the woman on the left-hand side of Superman is another character who we see later in the trailer do a little bit of shape-shifting, and I know who that is as well, but I won't spoil that. Let's see. It's the person that Crypto punches in the face.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the person who has these saw blade hands. And then this person, the person in the big iron suit, I'm not sure if that's a robot or a person in a suit.
Yeah, it looks like somebody in a suit to me.
Yeah, probably.
Almost like a Hulkbuster kind of suit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's apparently made up for the movie character.
Right.
And I won't spoil who that is in case people don't know. But so like the set pieces, it looks like Superman fights this guy, Superman fights the kaiju, and Superman fights the robot guy. So like those look like three major set pieces, and I'm sure and then of course there's the culmination of the glowing sky cloud thing. So there's at least 4 big action sequences that I can see here in the trailer, just involving Superman. And I'm sure there's more that, because there's the war scene, so there's another one. And then it looks like there's a big fight somewhere with Mr. Terrific and the other Justice Leaguers. Do you know who Mr. Terrific is? Have you ever seen him before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, so that'll be cool to see him. He's usually in the Justice Society of America. He's usually with the older characters, but, I'll take him in the Justice League. That's fine. Some interesting stuff that's going on in this trailer and I know it's going to be like a 3-hour-long movie probably, so there's so much more to actually discover that's not in here.
Yeah.
Because, they're leaving a lot of stuff out.
I want to talk a little bit about the scene with Lois, too, some more. So we're starting out here, and it's a cute moment that boils over into some frustration with the questions that she's posing to Clark as Superman here. And I want to mention, it's a bit of a move to show Superman in this setting, like right off the bat, almost an angry mood. I don't think it's anger. I think it's more frustration. And I think that it's frustration over people standing in his way, red tape getting in the way of him saving lives. It's a little different than what we've seen in the Henry Cavill Superman. I think we saw a bit of a different anger from that character than what we're seeing here.
Yeah, it was more of an angsty anger instead of like a frustrated anger. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like he just had a problem internally that it was working on, instead of like this Superman just seems like he's like, hey man, if you would just let me do this stuff, everything would be perfect. Like I can make everything better. Like just let me make it better. But then you have the whole like thing of like, well, do we trust one man who's not even from this planet? Which I think is what Lex is leaning into. Which again, I think is because Lex in the comic books a lot of times is a xenophobe. Literally, like, so that seems like, and I mean, he mentioned in the trailer, like, oh, everybody's talking about this guy all of a sudden,
Yeah.
We don't even know who he is, So it looks like he's really going to try to smear some Superman here, and might have worked based on the scene where he's walking around and getting a can thrown in his head.
And then the other thing that we've talked about before with the other trailers, and then it's very true in this one too, is that there's just so much vulnerability in Superman,
Mm-hmm.
which is really an interesting choice. I think it's a great choice.
Well, they started out both trailers, one with him literally getting percutted from who knows where and bleeding from the mouth and having to be dragged off by his pet. And then the second one, he starts out, he's in his regular clothes, in a vulnerable position, getting interviewed. Yeah, so like they're both
Yeah,
vulnerable positions, just of different sorts. So like they've started out both trailers like, hey man, this guy's not going to just like save the world by flicking somebody away. There's other things that are
right,
involved. So I think that's a good take for Superman because it's hard to tell a story with somebody who can do everything. But if you can make it
right.
like relatable where he's actually frustrated because like, you know, things get in the way, everybody has things get in the way. So like everybody can relate to that. So I think that's
Right.
a great way to tell a Superman story, and I hope it really works. Like I really do. It looks
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
promising, so I'm expecting it to work.
Right. Because you could portray him as an all-powerful god-like character, which we've seen in some of the prior films.
Hmm.
Though he is in many ways all-powerful, he has weaknesses, he has vulnerabilities. He grew up on Earth, and you can show his humanity. And it seems like that's what we're going to get with the Superman. And I'm on board with that. It's not just this scene with him being interviewed, and yeah, obviously he's showing some emotion and some vulnerability here, but also in this trailer we see, like you said, his face getting shoved into the concrete.
It's
We
torched
see
by something.
torched. We see him walking through a crowd of people, getting rocks thrown at his head. There's a lot of vulnerability in this trailer.
Hmm. Yeah, and the scene where he's like going super fast to catch the debris from hitting the girl.
Yeah,
That's a way to show like he as strong as he is, he can't save everybody, or he's still got a limited scope because of he's
right.
one man. He can save one kid, but maybe other people died. I think that's a really good way to do it. There was a story with Batman where they showed a bunch of instances where Batman was basically helpless,
Yeah,
but Bruce Wayne could help. It was a guy that was in jail, unjustly in jail, and Batman was like, "I can't break him out of jail," but Bruce Wayne could hire a lawyer.
yeah,
Or like there was a part where the Joker and the Riddler robbed a bank and they got away by throwing money all over the place and people were mobbing the money and Batman was like, I can't beat the people up. But maybe I could donate so people don't feel like they have to fight each other for money in the street. And maybe there's stuff like this too, where Superman can't do stuff, but maybe there's stuff Clark Kent can do because of his job.
right.
That you can't punch through the truth or lies, but you
Yeah.
can shine light on them. So maybe I think there's going to be some of that in there too.
Yeah. And the other thing is, though we see anger directed toward him, like the rock thrown at his head, we also see a man help him out of
Yeah,
a pit,
yeah.
you know, go in and offer his hand and pull him up out of a low spot, out of a low place, which is very symbolic.
Hmm. It's like the scene in Spider-Man 1 with Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire and Willem Dafoe where he's on the bridge and those people start throwing stuff at the Green Goblin.
Right.
So I like that too. That shows that you know that Superman's the man of the people. Like Spider-Man is, I guess, in a way too. Like he's
Yeah.
there for the city, and there's no question about it. So like they help him up when he needs it too. So I think
Right.
that's cool. I like that.
Real people are connecting with their heroes and
Well, it keeps them
showing that
from
humanity.
being aloof like Batman. Batman doesn't really like do that necessarily. There's a scene where he gives the kid the periscope or whatever. But like generally Batman's got to be who he is to maintain the fear of running into
Yeah.
him, like
Though I really like the scene at the end of the Batman movie after the flood and amidst the flood of Gotham when Batman decides that he has to be a part of the relief and rescue efforts and he's actually helping people.
hmm
I thought that was great.
yeah. I like the scene in The Dark Knight where the guy's threatening to turn him in and people are trying to kill him and Bruce Wayne speeds in front of him and hits that car or stops the car that's going to hit his car. And then,
Yeah,
like, the dude gets out and he's like, oh, what the hell? He looks and it's Bruce Wayne. He's like, oh, shit.
right.
But back to the Superman trailer, there's a still here of the supposed war scene, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't, the war that he stopped. And if you look at this still, you can see definitely the dichotomy of why Superman got involved. It wasn't to warring states going at it. It looks like it's a warring state going against refugees, because on one side you have tanks and APVs and all that kind of
Right.
stuff, and the other side you have old cars.
That's a good point.
And it looks, based on the body language of the people, of the refugees, quote unquote, they're not there to fight either. They're running away, and they look like they've been
Right.
surprised. So this looks like some sort of an ambush. This is exactly what Superman would get involved with.
Right.
And to do so like this, he, again, going back to the thing where he's one man. If this went south and they started shooting, he wouldn't be able to save all these people
Right.
unless he stopped pulling his punches, maybe, and homelandered all the all, all the army guys. But I don't think he's going to do that. So he would have a problem with this, and maybe that's why people are mad. Maybe he didn't save enough people. And it looks like the Justice League, of whatever ilk they are, step in to stop this, because I think Maxwell Lord is in this movie too, and he's involved with that era of the Justice League I mentioned earlier. Again, no spoilers or anything, but John Gunn, I believe, is playing him. So that's why another reason I think they might be doing the Justice League International thing, which isn't really a spoiler. Like, Guy Gardner's clearly a part of that. So, and not really any other Justice League. It's not really that hard to figure out. But like, I think that maybe this is even a corporate war. Yeah, maybe this is a corporation that's got a military or something. I don't know yet, because they look pretty clean. They don't really look like camo or anything. They look, they're black. They kind of like, like a corporate army, possibly. I don't know. Like, that's just a guess on my part. But whatever it is, the people that they're facing do not seem prepared or capable of defending themselves. And
yeah, that's a good observation.
And then here's the next spot in the trailer here, where I don't know if this is the kaiju or the robot.
Right.
I think this is probably, if I had to guess, I would say this is him fighting the kaiju, where he gets blasted by like a big flame breath or something. And he says, "Hey,
Right.
buddy," eyes up here, and then flies up in the air. So I feel like he's trying to like get the guy to look up, or the monster to look up.
Yeah.
So
That's a great line too.
Yeah.
That's because it's humorous. It humanizes character.
It's a little bit cocky too, which I like out of a Superman. It's not insanely narcissistic or anything like that, but he knows who he is and what he can deal with. So he's like, "Hey, man, here you go. Check this out." So I kind of like that kind of an attitude out of a Superman. So
yeah,
one of my favorite lines in a Superman movie was when he lost his powers and that guy messed with him in the diner, and he came back later with his powers and he messed with that guy. And he's like, "That's weird. I've never seen garbage eat garbage before."
Yes.
It's one of my favorite Superman lines ever.
Yeah.
That's just a classic. So I like that kind of an attitude out of my Superman.
Yeah. And David Cornsweet here, I think it's perfect. I think he's just perfect in this role. He looks like a young Chris Reeves. Youth and energy and humor, personality and character, bringing all that to Superman again.
Well, Chris Reeves brought up the point that Superman is all powerful, but what he is really is a friend.
Right.
Yes, he has to be people's friend more than anything. I feel like David Cornsweet really fits that vibe. Yeah, he's not like Henry Cavill. While cool, and I'm sure like is a good dude and everything, he just seemed more menacing. And I guess it's because of the internal struggle we spoke of earlier, that he seemed more menacing and more scary or whatever. And Superman should be like, if disasters happen, a kid should smile when they see him come to help. It shouldn't be like, "Oh shit," like. So they should be overwhelmed by his positivity, even in the face of a disaster. And I feel like this guy fits that vibe.
And it's so good to see color and light in a Superman movie, and not darkness and shadow.
Yeah, and gray and like,
his suit is bright, and I like that. He's got the shorts.
This feels like Superman, and not that the Henry Cavill had its moments. I really like the scene in Man of Steel where they had the fist fight with the Kryptonians, because I was like, "Oh man, Superman finally got to punch somebody." That's pretty fun. So, and it looks like he's going to punch a few things here, so this should fill that, that scratch that itch.
Right.
We're going to punch a big monster and a robot and probably a few people here and there.
And it looks like we'll be able to see it all happen too. We'll be, all at night or all in shadow and darkness, and
Oh, that's the thing. Superman should take place 100% in bright colors, and Batman should always take place in dark colors. Like that, just
Right.
that's their character. Batman being out in the daytime, like in the '66 show, is really weird. You shouldn't see stuff in a Batman movie most of the time. Like it should be in the darkness. You should see his eyes and the shadow of the cape and all that kind of stuff. Like, but you've got to
Yeah.
see Superman. You got to see that bright blue. You got to see that bright red and the yellow. His blue eyes and his black hair. Like, there's just things you have to see to feel like it's Superman. And I feel like this is already right there for me. And you know me, I'm more of a Batman guy than a Superman guy. You're always a Superman guy. And I'm super excited about it because I think it's going to be fun for everybody. But I'm glad you get to see it because I think this is going to be the home run we've been waiting for all this time. Not that the other movies are bad, but I feel like this is the Spider-Man Homecoming for Superman.
It
where
is.
We finally
It is
get a
in a
good
lot of ways.
Superman movie.
Yeah. And it used to be called Superman Legacy, and now it's just Superman.
Hmm.
And that's fine.
I think that's great because there's going to be people who grow up like, Superman was great. And they're like, which one? And they're like, what do you mean, which one? So, like, this is going to be other people's Superman, which I think is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's see, what do we got next in the trailer? We got more of the discussion. It looks like I wonder if they're going to intercut this between flashbacks of what happened. That's kind of the way the trailer makes it look like. And then
Looks like it. It jumps around.
this is an interesting shot, too, because this makes it feel like the scene where he got hit in the head with a can, but his uniform, as you see here, is toast.
Yeah.
When he got hit with a can, and it's completely clean in this scene. So these are two different scenes completely.
Right.
So I'm not sure what led to this, but they also make it seem like Lex Luthor is the president here.
Yeah, you think so?
She says, you didn't even ask the president, and then it cuts to Lex Luthor.
Huh.
So I'm like,
That's
is he president already? Because like, if Lois already knows he's Superman, that means they're pretty far into their progression of relationships. So like, maybe we start out with a President Lex. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think of that.
I find it hard to believe that the president would travel to the Fortress of Solitude and start tearing stuff up, though. So like, maybe not. Lex is pretty bold sometimes. So like, we'll see. But like, I would, if he's not already president, I wouldn't be surprised to see an announcement of him running for president by the end of the movie. Like, I feel like that could be, like, maybe he went to the Fortress of Solitude to expose that Superman's an alien. And maybe he's going to bring back evidence or something and then run on that or something. Like, that could be possible. And then it also kind of implies that Rick Flag in one scene is the Secretary of Defense or something. I don't know where it's at on this trailer, but when she says the Secretary of Defense and it cuts to him and then it says the President and it cuts to him, like, so I'm not really sure what position these people are in at this point. Like, that's going to be an interesting thing to find out as well.
Yeah.
There's more of the interview, and this is where he's mad because he's like, this has to be the Kaiju scene, right? Is this Metropolis, you think?
Oh, it has to be. Yeah.
Because this is a massive amount of destruction.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Metropolis, because right there's the LexCorp building. I see it in the skyline. It's the building with the bridge between two buildings. So that's definitely Metropolis. So yeah, the Kaiju, I'm assuming, really fucked the city up, because they cut to the Kaiju right here, right after that.
Yeah.
It won't let me hit it. There we go. And I really like that shot right there. I think that's going to end up being an iconic shot from this movie, where he's protecting the girl from the debris. And then we cut back to a shot of the robot/suit guy. And there was an interesting thing that I heard somebody bring up about the selfie that person was taking in the window with the robot. And about how it's going to be like, there's going to be like a back line of journalists versus influencers in this movie, which I think would be kind of an interesting thing. I kind of like that in She-Hulk, how Titania was like a supervillain social media influencer. I thought that was kind of fun.
I know there was a run in the comics where Superman leaves Daily Planet and does a blog or something.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember reading about that, and I was like, oh, what a sad, tragic day for journalism. But they could play with that a little bit, the state of media, the state of journalism. I got into journalism because of Clark Kent.
Yeah. So
Clark Kent and Peter Parker. I'm a journalist because of those guys.
Yeah. And I wanted to be a detective because of Batman, but didn't quite work out. But I still feel like one, so I guess that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the scene where Superman gets pulled out of the dirt, and I'm kind of thinking this might be the fight with the guy that I said I didn't want to spoil his name, where he gets arrested. So maybe he escapes, from whatever's going on there and fights because his uniform is not messed up as far as like fire damage, but it is dirty because he got smashed into the ground. But it's not dirty in the scene where he gets arrested. So they don't beat him up and then arrest him. At least not in that scene, anyways. And then here we go back to the fire damage thing, and the hey, eyes are up here. And then he just flies up. He's so fast right there. I love that too. How he's just like gone. Like
Yeah, right.
they really like capture his speed there, which I think is really important. And then here we have the Fortress of Solitude rising out of the ground, and that looks like Crypto dragging him right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a different scene where Lex and his henchmen get into the room of the Fortress of Solitude, the entrance, and Crypto and the robots are defending it. So that means that Superman is not here currently, which means he might be in that cage actually at that point.
Right.
And here's a scene of Superman saving somebody from the kaiju, which I think is really cool because in addition to punching things, Superman does save people. So having a few shots of him saving people in here, I think it was good. It's like the Thunderbolts.
Telling you right now, though. Telling you right now, because you just mentioned that maybe Crypto and the robots were left on their own to defend the Fortress of Solitude. If anyone does anything, or if anything happens to that dog in this movie, James Gunn is going to hear from me.
Yeah. Surely he can't hurt the
dog. I
dog.
would not be happy if they use kryptonite to somehow hurt the dog.
Well, they left Cosmo alone in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so hopefully they'll leave Crypto alone.
Right. Don't do that. Don't even do that. Don't mess with the dog.
Well, if they really want people to hate Lex Luthor, I know what they need to do. So. Please, no. And here's another shot.
I couldn't handle that.
Oh yeah, no, that would make people mad, I'm sure. Like you can't, especially as cute as that dog is, you can't mess with that dog. And here we got the mysterious sky cloud. It's got to be something to do with Brainiac. It has to. I wonder if maybe that's his shrink ray or something, and he's trying to shrink Metropolis to put it in his bottle city or something. But we'll find out. That's the biggest mystery I have for this, because surely they're not going to end it on a big sky beam. The classic sky beam comic book thing. Like this can't be the end of the movie.
No.
So I'm really curious to see what this ends up being. Let's see.
You see in some of the promos, and I think it's just a still shot that we got, one of the first looks we got, where it's him sitting in this chair with that behind him, and he's just kind of lacing up his boots. He's putting his boots on, zipping them up or whatever.
Right.
And he looks kind of distraught, downhearted, and I can't imagine it ends that way.
Well, I mean, Reed Richards looks the same way when they're like, "Are we safe?" And he's like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
So like, we can't lose Metropolis and New York and that Earth in the same summer. So that would be a little too similar. But I feel like this is not the key moment of the movie, which I think the composition of it makes it seem like that, but I don't think it is. But we'll see.
Yeah.
And then we have Superman with his dad as he was young.
It's the guy, I can't think of his name right now. The actor's name is slipping my mind, but you ever see that movie Identity with John Cusack?
Oh gosh, a long time ago, yeah.
So he was like the mental patient in that.
I've seen him a million times, and I just cannot think of who he is.
Pruitt Taylor Vince.
What else has he been in?
So I never knew that guy's name, but I've seen him in so many things. I never knew the guy's name. I know it now, so I'll remember it next time. But I remember him from that movie with John Cusack, the Identity movie, because he was the mental patient. And spoiler, that movie came out in 2003, so don't get at me if you haven't seen it.
I don't even remember it, and I know
that whole movie took place inside his head.
Oh wow, yeah, that's right. Anyway, I like that we see the older and regular looking Ma and Pa Kent in this instead of Diane Lane. It's really distracting as Ma Kent. It's like she's just too good looking to be Ma Kent. Not that this woman is ugly or anything. I
love the Ma Kent scene in this where she says, "I'll get your boots." Oh, that's such a great scene.
Yeah.
And it reminds me a little bit of the scene in The Incredibles when Sam Jackson's like, "Where's my super suit?"
I've never seen that either.
I don't know. You've never seen The Incredibles?
Mm-mm. No, no. Yeah, there's the scene with Mr. Terrific. We get to see a little bit of his abilities at work. It looks like he's got a fucking ship there that I never noticed either. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's pretty fancy looking. He's a technical genius, so like I'm sure he's got some fun, fancy stuff. It looks like he's got some infrared vision, perhaps here of some sort. Some drone. He always has drones in the comics that little like ball-shaped drones that do weird shit. And we got more Lex in the Fortress of Solitude. He looks kind of upset, which on brand for Lex. His suit looks torched there, right? Maybe a little bit, maybe not.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's after the kaiju fight. And here's the scene we talked about earlier with Metamorpho with the kryptonite hand. So it doesn't look like it takes much kryptonite to stop this Superman. And it doesn't have to be very close. And these robot guys or these henchmen guys are beating him up. Oh, I never noticed that before, did you? Rising out of the dust.
No, yeah. I have not watched every frame by frame of this yet, so I'm glad we're doing that now.
Yeah. I'll bet this is the scene where the buildings collapse, right?
Yeah,
Probably so. Hopefully they're all empty. Let's see. Another shot of Lex running his mouth, and then we get a shot of this, what I'm going to call this version of the Justice League coming to help. I mean, are they coming to help him again? Like, I'm really
yeah.
curious to see how they use these guys in this movie, because I know James Gunn is good at this stuff, so like I'm not doubting him or anything, but they're showing up at some weird times. Like, this might be the kaiju fight too. It's like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
maybe they help him
I'm
save
like,
people or
oh,
something.
Superman, we gotta keep bailing you out of this stuff.
Yeah, that seems kind of strange if that's the case. So I don't think that is the case. As you can see,
Yeah,
Mr. Terrific here has his little gadgets to help him fly, and you can see the drones here. There's one on
yeah,
above him to the right, and then right in the middle. Um, we saw this little boy in the previous trailer that prayed to
yeah.
Superman for help. So this is clearly the refugee crisis, and they're all running from stuff right here. So
Right. Puts up the flag. He's calling out for Superman to help. He's not gonna look the other way. Superman's gonna rush into that situation to help.
yeah, exactly. So it looks like Mr. Terrific has been defeated here and smashed into the ground pretty hard, but it looks like he had some sort of armor on. This might be right after. Okay, I think I know what's going on here. This is the armor or the stuff he was wearing to fly with, like right
Yeah,
here. So like this must be they must be coming to help Superman fight these people that arrest him or something. Like I said, I know who this character is, so this stuff I know what was going on here, and I know who that was. I don't know that must be where the kaiju came from.
oh, from under, yeah,
Yeah,
the Earth splits and the kaiju comes out of that. Yeah,
yeah, I bet that's what happens there. Because I was wondering what that was, and I was like, I think that makes sense probably. So like the kaiju might. I wonder if that's magic, because in the comic book, Superman is vulnerable to magic. So I wonder if somebody like tried to like if Lex had some sort of like magical DC character bring this kaiju or something to try to stop him, because that doesn't look natural there. The crystalline, purple crystalline like
right.
barrier that's splitting the water there. So like, I wonder if that's magical of some sort. Here's Lex
Huh.
getting really mad again. That could be about anything. And then here's the scene you talked about where Ma Kent's going to get his boots.
I love that.
Yeah, and like they look like they look great as the Kents. You know what I mean? I'm
They
perfectly
do.
happy with that. I think that's great.
Yeah,
And I've heard some people theorize that since they didn't see Ma Kent in the trailer, that maybe she had passed away, and that was this
yeah.
movie's version
That
of that happening. But I don't know that either one of them will, to be honest, because they didn't in the
it
comics,
doesn't
right?
seem like that. It seems like they're both here. So,
Yeah, which
um,
I think is better. I don't think Superman
yeah,
needs
I
the
think that's
death to do
fine.
what he does. Like I think Batman does, because Batman,
Yeah,
like somebody brought it up that Superman is bored. I think it's Bill from Kill Bill. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, that Superman is Superman all the time, and Clark Kent is his secret identity. Yeah,
yeah.
so like
I,
he
you know
wakes up
what?
as
There's
Superman.
yeah. Have you seen Kill Bill?
Yes, that's where I got that from. I think.
Right, David Carradine's speech in that. I wanted to
Yeah,
talk about that because it doesn't seem like in this trailer we really see Clark Kent that much. Like we don't
right.
see him put on the persona of Clark Kent. We don't see the glasses. We don't see him. kind of stumbling about and stuff. Even when he's not in suit, he seems to be Superman.
Right.
And it reminded me of
Hmm.
that scene in Kill Bill Volume 2 where he talks about how Clark Kent is the costume.
Right.
He wakes up in the morning, he's Superman. His Clark Kent is his alter ego. He
Yeah.
puts on a Kent costume,
He
and the
says
Clark Kent is how Superman sees us in a way because he tries to blend in with us. He disguises himself as one of us, and he sees us
right,
in a sense as weak, unsure of ourselves, a bit of a
clumsy and
coward.
goofy.
Yeah, klutzy, clumsy. Um, I don't know about that part of it. I
Well,
think
he does act
he went.
clumsy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's
no,
that.
he does do that. He does,
Mhm.
but I think it's more of it's part of the ruse. I don't think he's necessarily doing that as a condemnation of the human
Right.
race. I think he loves humanity. I think Superman has to.
Yeah, I don't think it's a negative thing. I think he just does this. Like, oh, these guys are kind of clumsy. Yeah, so like let me bumble this around a little bit. You know, like I don't think he's doing it as like an indictment or like a hatred thing or
Yeah,
anything. I think he's just like, oh
yeah,
yeah, they're a
yeah.
little bit clumsy. Yeah, so
Right,
like because he's still trying to understand stuff. You know what I mean? We need to see Ma or Pa Kent die for Superman to be who he is. Like I think he's
right.
just that way, and that, like I like that he has the family support system. I think that's what makes him as a human as he is. Is like
Yeah,
that's the thing with Homelander and Superman that I noticed when I watched The Boys season one was that they were opposite sides of the same coin. Where Superman is an
yeah,
alien that crash lands on Earth and raised by humans as a boy and becomes the big blue Boy Scout, and Homelander is a boy born on Earth, given powers, and raised in a lab like a rablat and becomes a monster. You know,
right.
so like I like that. Like so, I feel like this Ma and Pa Kent are really important to Superman, and I like
Yeah,
that they're James Gunn gets that. So hopefully, I didn't really like the Suicide Squad movie he did, so I'm not like a James Gunn super fan or something. But I think this
yeah,
is going to be a really good one.
yeah. I
Uh,
like a lot of James Gunn stuff. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. I even thought Suicide Squad was fun in a lot of ways. There's some of stuff I don't like. I can't get into the Peacemaker stuff with John
yeah,
Cena. Like
yeah,
I
I'm not
watched
really
an
into that
episode of
either.
that and I'm like, this isn't for me. Um, so I'm not a James Gunn super fan. I think he can do wrong. I really hope he's not going to with this. I have all indication that this is going to be a success.
Yeah, I do as well. Like I feel like he knows what the assignment is, and it's not like, oh, this is me just making a movie that I want to make. This he's like, I've got to make this Superman movie, and it seems like he's taking it seriously. So I hope he does. And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to say something else too about the parent's death. So um, obviously in the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, the scene where Pa Kent dies, heartbreaking. It's
mhm,
so sad. I remember. I mean, I've seen that movie so many times. It's always so heartbreaking. And then there's a scene in Man of Steel too, where Kevin Costner plays Pa Kent, and he
yeah,
dies, and like he kind of looks back at him, and he wants to go save him, but he kind of gives him a nod, think of his head, like no, you can't reveal yourself here like this now, and so he has to let him go, and it's heartbreaking. But we don't need heartbreaking
no,
with
I think you should
Superman.
have
We
the
don't.
opposite of that with Superman. You know, I think you should have
Yeah,
fun and be uplifted and inspired when you leave. You shouldn't be like, oh, his dad died, or like, his mom
yeah,
died, or something. Like, again with Spider-Man, like, he loses his Uncle Ben or Aunt May, depending on
yeah,
which version you watch. And I think again that's important for him to realize, like, I do have this responsibility, but I don't think Superman doesn't have a problem with that. I think he understands that. Like, I don't think he has a problem figuring that out. Like,
yeah,
he knows what he is and like what he can do, and he kind of acts accordingly. So like, he didn't need that impetus to like make him who he is. So I like that, and
yeah.
I hope they kind of stray away from that in this. I think that'll be good.
I saw a meme that reminds me of. There's a meme and it said something like um, no one's ever really dead in a Marvel movie
Hmm.
except Uncle Ben. And it was a picture of Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man crying. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, there used to be a joke when I
Uncle
read
Ben will never
comics.
come back. Everybody else could come back, but Uncle Ben is dead forever.
Well, there used to be a joke back when I read comics that the only people that stayed dead were Uncle Ben, Bucky, and Jason Todd.
Yeah.
And Jason
Yeah.
Todd and Bucky are sure back. So like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Uncle Ben come back. To be honest with you, be like, oh yeah, you remember that joke? Fuck you. Check this out. Uncle Ben's a bad guy now. He shoots people in the head. It's like what?
Oh man.
So yeah, like that's why like it was actually kind of a surprise when I found out that Bucky was the Winter Soldier because I didn't read those comics
Yeah.
or anything. And like I had heard of the Winter Soldier, but I didn't know who he was. So I was like, oh shit, it's Bucky. I was like, I didn't know that. That's pretty fun.
Oh man, you might have just hit on something though for the next Spider-Man movie for a New Day because we never saw Uncle Ben die in this Spider-Man universe. We haven't seen Tom Holland's Uncle Ben die, right?
True.
We don't really know what happened to him, do we?
No,
We've
not
seen
as
it
far as I
to
know.
May, Aunt May, but we never really discussed Uncle Ben that much, have we?
No, what if he just shows up? He's like, hey, Peter, I'm your Uncle Ben. And it's fucking
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. That would be amazing.
Something like that's gonna happen. Oh my God.
I mean, why not? Like, after they reset the universe, like, anything could happen now. Here's just an interesting thing I didn't really notice before. You can see Superman punching, and I'm not going to sound really mean right here, but this monster looks like fucking Nicholas Holt right here. Like, I can
Like
see.
Lex Luthor turned into the kaiju.
I wonder if he's done something with his DNA like he did in the other Superman movie where he made this monster or something. Because it's got blue eyes like Lex, and it's got, like, and it just looks like it favors him. I'm not even trying to be mean or like
Facial
anything.
features a little bit. That's funny. That's
Yeah.
just that still shot of it right there. I can see it.
Yeah, like I don't think it looks like it, but I think it favors him in certain aspects. Like I wonder if it's like I wonder if it's his DNA or something. I mean, it very well could be. Lex is insane.
If the kaiju starts going, Father, to Lex.
This is when Superman knocks it. Oh, there's a big Belly Burger sign. That's a famous DC fast food restaurant. Here's Guy Gardner. He's coming in to clean up what looks to be those military people, and they're running away from him for a change. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think they must understand what a Green Lantern is on this Earth. So that's good, I guess. And here's the first time we see Clark in this whole trailer, right? Like, let me get it, play it here.
Very briefly there with in the newsroom with his glasses on.
Yeah, that's the one
Yeah.
time we see him.
You're right.
And oh, there's the scene with the girl.
Taking the selfie. Yeah.
Yeah, taking the selfie with the what looks to be. I thought maybe there for a second that was a Lex battle suit, but I think it's the robot that was shooting the laser in the
Yeah.
wall there. So like she's clearly some sort of social media influencer or something. She'll probably work at the Daily Planet in the life and style section.
Yeah.
And this I'm not sure of. Like that looks like the little balls in an AstroTurf thing, like that keep you from smashing into the ground super hard. But I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is exactly. So that I thought that was kind of interesting.
Huh.
And then what is this? This Mr. Terrific and Lois Lane. Where are they? I don't know. That's an interesting place. We'll find out later, I guess.
Have they gone into the crevasse that the kaijus come out of?
Ah, maybe. I wonder. Maybe it's where they found. You know what? Maybe that was Metamorpho that split the ocean open. Because look, he's got that bluish tint to him. And I thought maybe this might be the scene here with Metamorpho, like growing his fingers together. Maybe that was how he's like creating the kryptonite or something. Yeah, like maybe he had to combine two things or something to get it. That looks sort of like where Lois and Mr. Terrific are, but I don't know. It also sort of looks like space. But yeah, this is the healing thing where they heal him with the yellow sun. This is after Crypto drags him home, I think.
Right.
See, I thought this would be the fight after the guy in black. Like, I thought maybe he was the one who did this, but I'm not sure now. Like, I'm honestly not sure. And then here we have the classic, Superman floating with Lois and giving her a smooch. And then
that's great.
Flying
great
up in the air.
There.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's classic movie Superman right there. Like,
yeah, I mean, you put that on a poster.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah, that right there is like you could make a silhouette of that and little T-shirts out of it or something. Which we should do actually. Keep an eye out. Maybe we'll do that. And we got here him flying out. This looks like a potential kaiju flame breath. So it looks like he's trying to like fly away from the kaiju breath or something. And this is probably, I guess this is the scene where he comes flying down. So he probably flies down, and this is probably the view from the kaiju, I would imagine, where he smashes down into its face or something.
Yeah.
Because everybody's cheering, so that's not when he gets smashed into the ground, I don't think. He's like cannonballing. Okay, I got you. He's going to fucking knee that monster in the face, probably. And then
Yeah,
here we
I
have,
like the design. I like the design of the Superman symbol too. I like the design of the suit overall. I think the design of the movie overall looks great.
hmm yeah, it's I believe this is really close to the Kingdom Come Superman logo. Yeah, it looks like the Kingdom Come Superman
Yeah.
logo. His has black where the yellow is instead. Kingdom Come. Do you know what that is, right?
Yeah, vaguely.
You should really read it. I'm sure it's available somewhere to read online or something. But it's one of the best comic book stories ever written. I think. Like, it's about an alternate future Superman that
Yeah.
kind of retreats back to Kansas because the Joker kills Lois Lane, and
Oh,
then
okay.
like one of those anti-heroes, like violent, like it was based, it was written in the 90s, so it was like one of these anti-heroes with guns and stuff, ended up gunning the Joker down, and he just left and like went away and just became a farmer and stuff. And then like there was a big fight that took place in Kansas, because I think they were trying to draw him out or something, and somebody killed Captain Atom, and it caused a nuclear explosion in Kansas, and like Superman came back, and it's a really good story, but it's an older Superman stuff, so like they might be putting us on the path onto that, like, hey, this will be our like end game, Kingdom
Yeah.
Come, which would be really cool. I don't know if they'll kill Lois Lane, but
Oh,
they'll have
geez.
maybe the Kents. They might kill the Kents or something, and maybe that'll cause Superman to like freak out or something. So I don't know.
We just went over this. We don't need somebody to die,
I know, but well, we do for this storyline.
I guess.
Yeah, to cause Superman to retreat. That's what. See, like you have to hit the beats for the. Like if you're not going to do that, then nobody has to. You know what I mean? And they shouldn't. But
Yeah.
if and nobody should die in Batman other than like people that are random people that he's trying to like use to catch the Joker or somebody. But nobody like Batman knows should die like that. Like past his parents, because it's like, well, how much can he take? So.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's and then we have the final scene here where Lois sees that he has a dog. This obviously
Superman
isn't the
has a
same
dog.
shot, but because they're in some sort of an apartment here, and he's in his room back in Smallville here. So
Yeah. I just love that.
yeah,
I
I do.
think
I think that's great.
Giving Superman a dog is such a great decision. I think it does so much to humanize, to make him relatable, uh, to bring some joy to Superman.
Well, and it gives him a little bit of comfort from home because Crypto is obviously Kryptonian as well. So like it gives him a little piece
Yeah.
of home to hang out with and like
Right.
be his buddy and stuff. And Superman should have
Yeah.
comfort.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
shouldn't be a
I think it's
starving
great.
artist, so to speak. Like he should have some comfort in his life for all he does.
Yeah. And so the movie that James Gunn is working on, or has just also wrapped filming on, is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, right?
And I
Yeah.
don't know if she'll be in this or not. Like maybe an end
Yeah.
credit scene or something. I'm sure they'll carry on with the end credit scene tradition. Because why
Maybe.
not? That's the only way to get people to stay and watch credits.
Yeah.
So
Did you
that's
watch that old Supergirl movie with Christian Slater's sister in it?
Helen Slater. Yeah, I've seen it a long
Helen
time ago.
Slater.
I haven't seen it in a long, but it was good. I remember liking it. I was like, wow, this is cool. Like,
I remember liking it too. It was weird. There was some weird stuff going
yeah.
on in it, but I liked it too. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember liking it and watching it on repeat a couple times as a kid.
Yeah, yeah, I remember because I remember seeing it for the first time at my dad's house. I was like, "Oh, there's a Supergirl movie." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I didn't know that." And I watched it. I was like,
Yeah,
"This is actually good."
yeah.
It
You ever watch
doesn't.
any of the series with Melissa Benoist?
Yes, but nice.
She's great. She was great in that too. I didn't watch the whole series, but I like that as well.
I watched maybe 3 or 4 seasons of it. I watched quite a bit. It was cool. It had Martian
Yeah,
Manhunter on it and Valor
yeah,
and like a bunch of cool
yeah,
characters you don't see very often.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
so
excited about Superman and Crypto and Supergirl being all a part of this. That's
hmm
gonna be great.
yeah, I think it'll be fun. And we're getting a Clayface movie apparently, which is
Oh yeah,
weird, but sure. I mean, Clayface is one of my favorite Batman villains, so I'll definitely be interested how he carries his own movie and whether they'll actually put Batman in it or not. Because I hate when they do that. Batman is the impetus for a lot of these people being, the way they are, and like the fact that he won't kill them. They keep getting
yeah.
out and doing stuff. Like I feel like that's a pretty important part of the Batman lore. Like, he created the Joker. That's why I didn't like the Joker. Joaquin, or is it Joaquin Phoenix? That's his name, right?
Oh yeah, the Todd Phillips ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't really like that because Joker is who he is because Batman made a mistake. Like he dropped a guy into acid by mistake, and then like he can't kill anybody, so he's got to live with this mistake. So it's that's kind of the point. So like when there's no Batman, there's no point for the Joker other than just to kill people. And I'm like, well, who's going to stop him? Like Batman's usually the only one that stops him. Like that's the thing with Batman is like he's part of the like he does all this good, but he's also like part of the reason some of it's bad. So he has to like put that on his shoulders and carry it around. But like when he's not there, it's just there's no. It's like letting a lion loose in the hen house.
Yeah.
And literally a lion in the hen house, not just a raccoon or something. And like the Joker's not somebody like if Batman has trouble putting him down and stopping him, like then I think a regular person would be almost helpless.
Yeah.
So like having him just running loose like that, I just felt like that's just incredibly like pointless. I don't know.
I'm super excited about Superman coming out here really soon,
Mm-hmm.
July. We're looking at just a little less than 2 months from now. So I'm sure we'll get another trailer before then. Might talk about that one. We'll definitely talk about the movie when it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if there's another Fantastic Four trailer, we'll talk about that too. Because I'm almost equally as excited for that movie.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see what happens there. That's going to be a good month. July is going to be a good month for classic feel-good comic book characters, man. The Fantastic Four, the First Family, and Superman, the big blue Boy Scout. Like,
yeah.
that's going to be a fun month.
We got a real blockbuster summer ahead of us again.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like we haven't had a really good one.
No, it's been a long time. Like I don't know the last time I've seen a movie in the summer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Usually the ones I go see are out in February or April or something. So yeah, it'll be fun to go see two movies in July actually. So.
Yeah. This is a good thing. I just hope that by the time it finally gets here, movies haven't turned into this like Mad Max post-apocalyptic hellscape where teenagers all descend and do crazy things and like ride on each other's shoulders and do chicken fights and throw popcorn and all that kind of stuff. I really hope that we don't descend into that kind of dystopia before these movies come out because I can't handle that.
Yeah, just let us get through Secret Wars and then you can do whatever you want. I don't care anymore.
I do. I like to go to the movies. I like to see movies in theaters. Please don't do that to my movie theaters.
Well, I mean, if you got it, just wait until after Secret Wars. But if don't do it at all if possible. Like, I'm not saying I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying if you got to do it, give us a little bit of time first. Don't just do it right away.
Hi, I'm Scott Paris. I'm a singer-songwriter of 20 years going on, and my ETA, my Everything After, is my new book, A Guitar Called Harry V and the Cover Band Conundrum. I took a year to write it. It was written in real time in 2024, but it gave me a chance to reflect on everything after 20 years of writing and performing and trying to chase my dream. So it's a perfect thing for the Everything After show, that I've got a book that talks about what I did after chasing the dragon, chasing the dream, and getting really, really close and being very, very satisfied in a job well done, or at least the attempt to finish the mission. And here we are. I'm living my Everything After right now.